Okay, so I'm going to review the rhetorical analysis, the biggest 11th grade benchmark essay that you will have in your life. So if you're wondering what they're doing in Florida or Kentucky or Ann Arbor, Michigan or Dallas, Texas, or let's say San Francisco, California, or wherever it is, they're working on 11th graders, the rhetorical analysis. This is kind of like a benchmark for 11th grade. With the seniors, for instance, they do a resume and cover letter. 11th graders are going to do the rhetorical analysis. So over here, start with your name, the teacher's name, the class, the date. So this is the info block of MLA format. A title that's centered rhetorical analysis dash beyond Vietnam. This particular rhetorical analysis by Mariah C., a student at Omni, scored an 18. She had a very high score on it. Okay. And she was not that great of a writer, but she became a very good writer. Okay, so in the first paragraph, you're going to talk about how the author, inside his article, builds his argument with several persuasive devices to persuade his audience against the American involvement in the Vietnam War. So in paragraph number 1, cite the author, cite the title, tell how the author is building an argument with persuasive devices or however he's going to build it to persuade his audience against or for his topic. Okay, initially over here, this is a transition. Okay, King builds his argument by alluding to several ethical, and you can scratch out this ethos. This is just there to tell you that this is ethos or ethics. So in this very topic sentence, you want to talk about your first technique, how this author, Martin Luther King, builds his speech and builds his credibility, how he builds his argument. He does it, first of all, with allusions, which is tied to the thesis statement up here. So this intro serves as the thesis statement, but also as the intro paragraph because you don't need anything long on SAT day. So initially, King built his argument first by alluding to several ethical sources throughout his essay to give his speech credibility. Then you can explain what an allusion is. Allusions, alluding, are references to what? Credible sources, people, studies, universities, institutions, whatever, laws, cases. So the dude down the street may be correct, but it doesn't sound very good to allude to a dude down the street. You want to allude to someone who's very credible, like George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King in this case, Barack Obama, so on and so forth. Then give an example over here of how they used an allusion and where it was at, paragraph 3, so on and so forth. Okay, over here, he makes this allusion to logically, that word logically, which is logos, garner support, okay, to call to attention and so on and so forth. Okay, in paragraph 2, King furthermore colloquially, word choice, which is pathos, alludes to communities, so on and so forth. All right. Okay, the next way that King builds his argument with transition another manner, King builds his argument is with careful vocabulary and language to connect with his audience. So I guess language would be pathos or emotion. Okay, and she's going to explain that here, what word choice is or language. Language has the power to affect us with emotion by way of tone and description. Okay, we get that. Okay, and you can paraphrase this stuff on SAT day. So in paragraph number 1, King uses the phrase demonic, destructive suction tube, which is really like also parallelism. It's demonic, destructive, suction tube to describe the havoc the Vietnam War has taken on the American poor. So she's rallying up some emotion there because poor people in general have to go out and fight these wars and it's not fair. We're talking about being fair here. And she's going to explain that. Here, King, which should be a capital K, but I don't care about that, uses powerful metaphors to make his case stronger that the war is an evil war against the poor. She's going to kind of summarize it. Throughout his speech, Dr. King uses powerful descriptive language to deliver his message. I would have made this paragraph longer, but once again, she got an 18, so her reader was very happy. Okay, then you're just going to pick up one more way that this reader uses and builds his argument or uses devices. So finally, transition, King uses an anecdote. Remember, anecdotes are short stories. Okay, she's going to explain that here. So King uses an anecdote to gain the audience's attention, which is going to be along pathos or emotion. You could have said, or she could have said, finally, King uses pathos by way of an anecdote to gain his audience's attention and to make his case stronger. Then explain it. Anecdotes are short stories with the power to connect to the audience. Okay, and then she's going to give an example. King recants a story about what happened to him one summer, saying, I have walked among the desperate, rejected, and angry young men. I have told them that the Molotov cocktails and rifles would not solve their problems. Period, quotation marks. King uses this story or anecdote to identify with his audience and letting them know he understands their anger, yet that social change comes most through nonviolent action. That's what Martin Luther King was known for. And then finally, in conclusion, Martin Luther King uses persuasive speech, made an impression on millions of people, and for that he became very well known and loved. Okay, she's just going to close it out really simply. Martin Luther King's knowledge of speech writing, persuasive devices, and debate techniques caught the attention of the world and got his point across clearly. Now, is this going to be a 24? No, it was an 18. That was good enough. So 18 passes. All right, so basically you have a short little intro. Okay, then over here you have the first persuasive device. I think all paragraphs should be about this long, but really this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, over here, this paragraph is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Could have been longer, but doesn't really matter because it's effective. Over here, she has her third persuasive device over here, which is an anecdote she's going to talk about. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. And then the conclusion, just restate your main idea and then kind of finish your paper off. And that's it. Now over here, if you go online, there's a bunch of different examples about the rhetorical analysis. So all across the nation, they're doing the rhetorical analysis. You should know this already. So over here, here's basically an intro, okay? So number 1, introduction, rhetorical, whatever this is. I'm assuming that means precise or precision. I don't know. Name of the author, okay? Title of the work, okay? He argues or suggests or whatever he's going to do, explaining how they did it, okay? A statement of the author's apparent purpose, okay? A description of the intended audience and the relationship the author establishes with the audience, okay? Body paragraph. Topic sentence with a transition. Author's last name begins. Make or claim about the strategy that he's using, so on and so forth. Same thing over here. Another strategy that he uses. Okay, your last paragraph. Okay, over here. Topic sentence, transition. Concluding the argument. He or she connects the idea from the sentence, so on and so forth. Conclusion, restatement of the thesis. It's all basically the same thing. This is interesting over here. Let's look at this over here. So this one over here, name, teacher's name, class date. This is the correct way to do MLA format. You can do it the other way also. Okay, here's the name of the author. Here's the article. Was simply the latest apple. This is a little anecdote she starts out with, and so on and so forth. Here's a thesis statement towards the end. Okay, here's the first topic sentence. The purpose of the article is to convince consumers that the iPad is not a worthwhile thing to buy because it is limited outside of the set content, as well as technology problems and potential to quickly become obsolete. Okay, so she goes and expands that. Here's another one over here, and so on and so forth. Okay, so close that out. Close this out and kind of do this assignment, kind of review it and use this one as a sample. Pick your own devices, but once again, if I go to the assignment over here, okay, if I close this out, here are kind of a list of all of the persuasive devices that you can potentially use, okay? So you've got, okay, allusions, anecdotes, which are short stories, rhetorical questions, that's asking questions. What is the problem with American children today? You might see some of those. Vocabulary, was there high-tech words? Was there anything colloquial like slang versus formal language? Figurative language, hyperboles, it's the greatest show on turf. Overstatements, understatements, these are things that Donald Trump does all the time. There's metaphors. Was there language in there like similes? Was there irony in there somewhere? Was there compare and contrast, juxtaposition, and the point of view? Was it the first person? Was it from my perspective, my opinionated person? Was it the second person? You is effective. Was it the third person? Did it sound neutral? There was no I or you. That's a third person. It was just he, she, they. Was there data, any kind of numbers to build an argument? Was there parallelism? Remember, parallelism. You can fool some of the people some of the time. You can fool all of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Or you can get with this, or you can get with that. You can get with that, or you can get with this. You can get with that, and you can get with this, but you can't get with this if you get with that. That's parallelism. Okay, repetition. I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream. Pathos, sympathy, anger. That was a tone inciting. Cause and effect, imagery. It was a beautiful diamond that shined in the sky like nothing she had ever seen and set her eyes on fire. Okay, was there alliteration? Were there analogies to build an argument? Was there inclusive language like we have got to do something? We have got to set the tone. It is our duty, okay? Was there humor to build the argument? Was there tone? Was it a biased tone for something? Was it an intellectual tone to kind of build the argument? Was it caring? Was it analytical? Was there any satire? And many, many more. You just have to identify those things and write at least 3 on SAT day and give examples. Okay, paraphrasing is putting things into your own words. It is allowed, but plagiarism is not. Okay, so have this done by Monday. Good job, everybody, and hope you signed up for the SAT. Okay, see you guys.